Now we turn to the Republican voice Congressman Morgan Griffith of Virginia, who says Democrats are pushing unsustainable demands and blocking a path to keep the government running. And he joins us now. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Let's start with what you're hearing from your colleagues and constituents this afternoon. What's the feeling among the GOP about this current shutdown?
Well, it's about funding the government. I mean, it's a 7.5 week CR, clean continuing resolution. There are a few extensions in there, things that are important to my district, like extension of programs to pay more to low volume hospitals and things like that that are in there. Telemedicine, there's an extension in there. Without those extensions, some of these programs may be in some jeopardy. We gave a short-term time period on a continuing resolution to keep the government funded 7.5 weeks. This is not the time and the place to be fighting over a lot of these issues that the Democrats have brought up. This is about trying to get our appropriations bills done and giving us a little bit more time to try to get back to regular order. It has nothing to do with all of those other issues that they want to say it's about. And in fairness, some of them we can't work on, but others, many of us have already indicated we're willing to work on coming up with some compromise language. So why do we need a shutdown? What we need is to fund the government for 7.5 weeks, see where we go, and then move on. If this was a year-long CR, continuing resolution that lasted until next September or even next December, one might understand the concerns of my Democrat colleagues. But this is, I believe, is a move that was done for political purposes, particularly in the Senate. Senator Schumer got a lot of backlash for agreeing to a continuing resolution in March. And I think he's trying to save face. That's my opinion. I don't see any logic to this. And stop and think about this for a minute. For all your people out there in Northern Virginia and even in Maryland, in winter, spring, they were fighting President Trump over making cuts to federal employees. Now they've handed him the red pen to cut programs on a silver platter. Not sure that makes a lot of sense because those programs they could argue in court were funded by Congress and authorized by Congress. Some of them are no longer authorized, and none of them are funded. So the president now has a blank check to go out and cut those very programs Democrats say they don't want to see cut. And they respond by saying, oh, he's being a bully. Whoa, wait a minute. They're saying we're going to shut the government down, which they just did, unless you cave into our demands. That's where this all started. They threw the first punch. Hopefully we can get it resolved fairly quickly. But I don't know how you negotiate when people are demanding things that they know that I and other Republicans can't vote for. We can negotiate on some of it, but they've put too much stuff in there. They've thrown in all kinds of different things. And I will just tell you, not going to happen. And so we've got to figure it out. Now we can work on negotiating some of it, but we have to work on funding the government first. And I think there's going to be damage to a lot of programs, unfortunately, that affect my constituents, affect every congressional district in the nation, because, as I believe, the only logical reason for doing this is for Senator Schumer and others to save face.
I want to build on more of the programs being cut, because while we don't know just how far-reaching this impact could be or for how long, what we do know is that the president said last night that there could be some good that comes out of this. From your perspective, do you agree with that? And what could happen? Are we talking about reshaping the government here? He's alluded
Yeah.
to carrying out mass firings of federal workers and eliminating programs, as you mentioned, in the event of a shutdown. So what do you say to the thousands of people who are being impacted directly and their families?
Well, I think it's a shame. I wish the Democrats hadn't done this. If we're going to shrink government, I would like to see a more orderly process. And I do think that that's going to result in a shrinking of the federal government. And the Democrats just handed away congressional authority, handed away congressional input, and said to the president, here you go. Cut whatever you think is not necessary, what's not essential. And while usually we have come back in and restored all of that, and that may happen if this short shutdown only lasts a day or two, if this thing goes on for several weeks, I suspect several of these programs will never be restored, and that those jobs will be permanently eliminated, and it's tough.
What steps
It's
are
hard.
you taking to shield Virginia's federal workforce and also the military families from this impact, the shutdown's
Well,
impact?
the president has indicated he will take care of the military families, that he's going to make sure that the soldiers get paid and that Social Security is delivered. And you know, I represent as far away from DC as you can get in Virginia, and so I don't have as many federal workers as Congressman Ivey has. But our offices will be open. I've deemed my people to be essential to try to work through problems and situations that individuals and families might have. But you know, as a conservative, I don't mind seeing the government shrink a little bit. I may not agree with the president on every program that he has to cut, but he's got to cut something because we didn't fund the government. And that's why I don't understand why the Democrats think this makes any sense, because they're giving the president exactly what he wants in the sense that he can pick programs and shut down what he needs to shut down. And I saw this when Obama was in. He came in and shut down the Blue Ridge Parkway and then put officers out there to try to keep people from going to the concessionaires on the parkway. So this is what presidents do when there's a shutdown. It usually doesn't work out well for the legislative branch. I don't think it's going to work out for the legislative branch this time. I don't think that the chaos that is created by this shutdown is good for America. But I do think that we might be able to shrink some programs that I'm okay with shrinking. The others I may not be. We'll have to see.
We will have to see. And I know many are hoping for even a last minute solution. So Representative Morgan Griffith, thank you so much for your time and for weighing in.
Thank you.